Hi, it's Carolyn, the contest queen. And this is with the contest queen. And as you can see, I have a very special guest. This is Simon Davis from RoboForm, as you can see by his moniker. And the reason I'm having him on as a guest this month is this is my 20th anniversary of using RoboForm. And I remember this because I had heard about all these amazing things about this software package, but my computer at the time was so old that I thought, if I load this software on, my computer will crash. It got so bad, my husband bought me a new computer, and the first thing I put on after Windows was RoboForm, and it changed my life. I can't imagine my life without it. It's been on every computer since then, and I highly recommend the software, not just for entering sweepstakes, but for your whole life. And we're going to talk about all the reasons why you should be reusing your RoboForm. So thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Carolyn. Happy to be on.
I love that. You can see how passionate I am about your program. And it has come so far from the beginnings of the program. And I have no idea which sweeper figured out that we could use your software not only for protecting ourselves, but for entering sweepstakes. But I thank them every day. So let's go over the history of RoboForm and then go through some of the features and things people can use it for. So, because there's so many segments, and then there's features that we were talking about off air that I didn't even know existed, that the program is so evolved, you can use it for things that I didn't even know were features now.
Ooh, so let's start at the beginning then, shall we? So, Carolyn, you've been using it since 2003. It was launched in 2000. So when we started at the very, very beginning, as the name suggests, it was a form filler, which means it was for people, it was for checkout forms, just anything that was a form online, just so people wouldn't have to type. It's repetitive stuff. This is a time when basically, I think Netscape was still around and maybe Internet Explorer. That was it, right? I think Internet Explorer still might have existed for Mac. We're talking so. Like maybe Safari was around. We're going very, very far back here. But very quickly, we got feedback from users that was like that we saw that they were like using it for typing in, basically for entering passwords, right? Because technically, like a username and password field is a form field. It's just a specific type. And it's a thing that people got to do all the time. We basically created we made something called a pass card, which is basically like the site name and then the username and the password. And then it was a one-click login. And the name pass card, by the way, it came from basically the visual of a Rolodex card.
Oh,
yeah. So our founder, before he was using RoboForm, his like sort of password book type of solution was he had a Rolodex, and he would that's where he would put his passwords and stuff. So that's why I think even now, like, the image is still like, it looks kind of like a card. And then we started calling it.
Yeah, if he'd used a little address book, it would have been passbook.
But also each one's a card, right? So that's kind of Now those are called logins, right? So it's called that's called a login. That's what we renamed it to, just to kind of keep it simple for people. But that's kind of how it started, right? So originally it was basic, and then we also added safe notes. So if you just wanted to share like just any kind of note, right, you could do that. And the whole idea was, okay, like, this is very, very important stuff. We got to make sure that it's always encrypted, so it's on your machine. We started with that, and we kept with that, obviously. At first it was just basically people on a desktop. Often it would be like back then it was like you'd have like one computer, multiple users, and you had like different profiles in the same RoboForm license, for like, the different use of that desktop computer in the house. Obviously we've evolved since then. So fast forward a few years, We're having, Firefox is coming along, Chrome is coming along. We're getting to like the late 2000s now. And then also 07, huge year. Actually, sorry, 06. 06 a huge year in general, because that's when the iPhone comes out. So absolutely, yeah. So that's 6 years into us, and then Chrome kind of became popular around that time, a bit later too. So those two things, as well as just, people getting more devices, it became a lot easier to have an internet connection, a personal computer, a laptop, than a smartphone. So we went from situations from like a use model where you'd have like one computer, multiple users, to one user, multiple devices. And, browsers have kind of changed since then, obviously, since now, most of them will also store your passwords. They will also enter them, right? And so RoboForm has kind of evolved as kind of like why people use it. It's for people, a big reason why people buy Password Manager like RoboForm is because they want to have their passwords across all their different browser types. So if you have like a Windows computer and you're using Chrome and you want to get those passwords in Safari on your iPhone, stuff like that. And just to be able to manage it easily and have it everywhere, just have it in a nice program. So today, that's kind of what it's kind of evolved to. It's not like in the old days where, the browsers just didn't store your passwords. You had to type it every time, and cookies weren't as popular. So you had to log in all the time. Nowadays, like usually, your Gmail, if you think about your Google account, you're not logging in very often. It kind of stays open, right? So yeah, that's kind of a broad little kind of like difference about how it works on the desktop. And then of course on mobile, nowadays people expect to be, now the mobile apps, people expect to log in on their phone more often as well. And so now both iOS and Android offer a way to autofill passwords, which has kind of happened in the past few years. So we're starting to see people expect, almost the same experience they get on desktop now on their phone.
But here's the thing. If you use, two reasons I like RoboForm for that is because when they first started saving, I didn't trust the browsers to save my passwords. And also, if you have different browsers or you have different devices, like you have a PC desktop and an iPhone.
Exactly, yeah.
With RoboForm, it's all in one place. Like you don't have to worry about device to device.
Or browser to browser. I mean, there's a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
You're a Mac user, right? Like most people on a Mac will use Safari. But then there's some sites where they say you got to use Chrome or Firefox. So what do you do there, right? I can think of a lot of situations like that. There's a lot of people who, for work, like they have to use, they might have like a specific like add-on or extension on Firefox that they use that isn't on Chrome, or they have a Chrome thing that isn't on Firefox. There's a lot of like cases like that where, you can't just take it. But also it's just a better experience. You know what I mean? If you want to get to your passwords to like manage them on Google or on, Keychain, you have to go through 5 different menus. You can't really organize them, and also it's, you're trusting a big tech company,
Well, this is the other reason I tell people, don't, like when you sign up for a site, don't use, like always use your own email, because if something happens to, Facebook or Google, you can't log in.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So when I go to a website and it gives me the other options, I never use them. I create a password and a login and I save it in RoboForm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, or you decide one day that you don't want to use Facebook anymore, right? And then but you have to log in with Facebook somewhere. What do? You got to stay married to them. What's the good in that?
Yeah, that always worries me. So that's actually that's a good piece of advice, to always have your own passwords, and that way you keep control over it. The other thing I like about RoboForm is I used it so long ago that I remember going on vacation, having to sit at the hotel business office because we didn't have a laptop back then.
Mm-hmm.
And you could log into RoboForm and see what you saved.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to contest on the road that way. Now it's easy because it's called RoboForm everywhere. Hello. I can just take it, and I can't tell you the number of times that I've been somewhere or I need to do something on one device, and I'll open my phone and I'll go to RoboForm and I'll look up the password, and then I'll enter because something's not right or something isn't working, so I can look it up and it solves my problem instantly. Like, it's such a time saver.
Or your credit card, you know, you can put it in your identity. You can copy paste it if you want to buy something on the go.
Those are also good for traveling. In the safe, you have a feature. I know we're jumping ahead. You have a feature called Safe Notes, which I use for traveling, and I keep my travel insurance numbers and phone numbers and account number in there. And same with like my car, and like all the insurances and all the information we need. Because if something happens and you lose your bag, you usually have your phone in your hand. So
that's right. Yeah. Frequent flyer mile numbers.
Right.
Another common one.
Yes, it's a good safety feature that most people don't think of. And I tend not to talk about as much because being a sweeper, the two features that I talk about the most, well, three, the identity feature, which is where you fill in your name, address, phone number, and that's what you're using to fill forms. I don't like that I have to keep going back every year and increasing the age feature, by the way.
Well, I think now I think now it's automatic to go based on your birthday.
I know, but I don't like that it keeps going up.
It's a reminder, yeah.
And then we use pass cards because that there's no way I'd remember. I think I went through it a couple of years ago because I had never cleaned it out since 2003. And I had passwords, like it took me 3 days to clean it up, but I still have like 700. And there's no way I'd remember that. And could you imagine the address book I would have with all the scratches? That would be crazy.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you can save you can save the forms. That is the number one thing that for me that RoboForm does. I know we're in a sweeper mode here.
For what you do, I can see it.
Identity. It can, like, if I have a UPC code for a contest, if it has radio buttons, if it has any other field, it saves the whole thing, and I can just hit the captcha button and enter, and it's amazing. We have a question. This is a good question from Mark. Can RoboForm be used on iOS, like iPhone and iPad, and then sync through the devices?
Yes, absolutely.
And if you had this is actually a good question. I'm going to extend it. So if we have an iOS device, I have my iPhones, for example, and then I have a PC laptop, it'll work on both regardless of the different technology, so to speak.
Yep. It's one set of passwords you have. It's your passwords. It'll enter them wherever you are.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, look at Daniel says, oh, this is a good question. I use RoboForm every day. Good, Daniel. Oh, why does RoboForm cut off the last 2 digits on the phone number on some forms? Will it fix with an update? Oh, I haven't seen that. Oh, actually, I have on a couple.
Send me the form, because each form is different. There's not like, it's not like a uniform standard. I got to take a look at the form.
Yeah, it's okay. So here, Daniel, we'll put, when I put the description, I'll update the description with their tech support. Send the screenshot and the form with the error, and then also link to the page, and we'll send it to tech support. And this is actually a good thing, because if they don't know what the issues are, they can't fix them. So if you send in issues that you find, you're only making the software better for everybody. Like, all boats rise with the tide. So actually, it's fantastic. Next time you see a problem, send it in, and then the program will get better in the next update for everybody.
Yep.
So that's fantastic. So yeah, so it started as standalone. Okay, where did we leave off? Passcards and passwords.
Safe notes, login, safe forms.
Left off at about 2006 when the iPhone came out.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah. So what we got to today where, it's used on mobile and all that, multiple browsers, all that good stuff. How we've evolved, kind of how we charge for it. Let's talk a bit about that. So up until like 2010-ish, we were basically charging, basically a regular, like traditional, like software license fee, right? Which is like you get a license for the computer, and then you pay for the upgrade type of thing. And then if you get another computer, you get another license. Which actually were great because you get one license, one computer, a lot of users. Once we started getting to a point though where it didn't make a lot of sense for us and for the end user, because most people have multiple devices. So if we kept up with that, then it's like, we're going to charge you for your iPhone, we're going to charge you for your computer, we're going to charge you for your laptop. It wasn't that great. So around 2011, we switched to a subscription model, which is also when we introduced our online sync system, right? And that's RoboForm Everywhere, where we say, all right, just one simple subscription, start out as $20 a year, all your devices. So no more, I'm getting it for this or for that. One easy low subscription, and you can sync everywhere. The original software, the original license was just for that computer. It didn't really have the ability to sync to our cloud, to back up between devices. So we introduced all that, and that's basically been what we've continued doing till today. So
yeah,
we've increased the price a little bit. It's $24 a year now. If you want it on one device, right now it's completely free. It used to be where if you wanted it on one device, the free version was basically 20 passwords. We used to say 20 passwords is free, more than 20 you got to pay. Again, you have 700 passwords, Carolyn. I mean, even the most, your 6-year-old daughter has 20 passwords at this point, I bet, right?
Well, she's 20 now, but when we were talking off air, and I said, this is actually one of the reasons it's important to pay for the service, for a couple of reasons. One, you're going to have more than what a free version has, and two, you can use it for the family, in that when my daughter was little, children don't remember their passwords. Like, she would have all these like little game sites that she would play on, and that were safe, parentally safe websites, but she would need to log on, which I thought was a good skill for her to learn, but she wouldn't remember her password. So I always had her log in once on my computer, and I would save it into my RoboForm, when she was little. And then if she lost her password, I could retrieve it for her. Now she's an adult and she has her own license, so I don't have to worry about her anymore. But when she was little, it's a good tool to use as a parent to keep your kids safe online.
So what we added, actually, you mentioned family. So we added that in like 2017 or so, I think. So there was RoboForm Everywhere, one user, unlimited devices, all your passwords. Then we said, all right, we're going to make a family subscription where you get up to 5 Everywhere accounts for $48 a year. So basically, for the price of 2 Everywhere, you get up to 5 family members, and it's all one subscription. So most people, they're going to add their spouse, and if they have another family member, another household member,
like
whatever,
a teenager or mom, like grandma.
Yeah, whatever you want. You get 5. Add whoever you need. But it's it's one subscription. It's a low price. And then within that, the other feature that we've added, also about the same time, a little before, was secure sharing. So basically, a lot of times, you want to be able to share the password. Obviously, we say you should not tell people your password. I mean, generally, that's the rule, just to be clear here. But there are situations for a small business, especially large business, but even within a family, where you share the same Amazon account, the same Netflix account, you name it. and the password might change. You don't want to, oh, I want to log into the Netflix. Oh, let me scream across the house to get the new password. No, you can, if you use secure sharing, you can have a folder, you can share the individual one. Oh, it changed. Oh, let me look it up. Oh, that's what it is. You know what I mean? So if I change it on my end, everybody gets the new version. So you don't have to like wonder, what it is. So, that's kind of where sharing, really, really helps. And so, yeah, I mean, if you're an everywhere user, you get 2 shared folders. And so if you have a family account and everyone gets 2 folders, it's a lot. You can do whatever you want.
That's 10 then, right?
Yeah, between them, potentially. Yeah, it adds up.
Yeah. Not that everyone would have to use them, but but it's the possibilities there.
Within the family. And you can share it to other RoboForm users, by the way. It's not just within the family.
Oh, yeah. So if you have a small business and I hire an assistant,
exactly,
and I want her to have the access to, whatever program that I use so she can log in and do some of the work, I don't have to give her access to everything. I can just share that one with her.
That's right.
And send it off and not worry that it's going to be. And then if I have a Siber, change, then she doesn't have to call me on the weekend. Where's the password? I need to do work. That's actually a good feature for small business.
And what we also have is if you share a folder, you can do something called limited sharing, where the recipient can't even see the password. They can just use it to log in.
Oh.
So a lot of people who have like a virtual assistant situation will sometimes use that, right?
That's a really good feature, especially now that so many people are remote. That's fantastic. Yeah, it keeps evolving. That's what I like about it. And like I said, I use it for so many things, and you can also make folders and organize it. The other reason I like it versus other methods of organizing my sweepstakes is that because it transfers devices and it's also saved in the cloud. I remember the last new computer I bought was in 2014.
Oh, okay.
And it took me 4 days to transfer all the data to that laptop. When I got this laptop about 6 months ago, I turned it on, I logged into Windows, and of course, I had my phone with my RoboForm on it so I could look up the password. I didn't have to wonder what it was. I open up I load on Chrome, had the password on my phone. Chrome went, hey, I see you have RoboForm, and it auto-installed it. I had my computer up and running in less than an hour, and the previous time it took 4 days. Like, I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. So it was so easy because I had my phone with my passwords. I didn't have to look anything up, like nothing, digging through paper. Where did I leave that? And the computer even recognized RoboForm as a Chrome extension immediately. And I just put in my master password, and I had everything there.
Yep.
That and then I used Dropbox for all the business files. I was done. I was shocked. And again, I had RoboForm to look up my Dropbox password.
Of course, yeah. No, if you start with RoboForm, everything else goes faster too, right?
Right. Like, it was fantastic. And I was like, okay, because I was prepared. I kind of cleared my calendar. I thought, okay, I'm going to need a week to get this thing set up. And it was done in an hour. I was like, okay, I like this new technology here.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing that has improved from the very beginnings, I remember because it was on your own computer, if you had a crash, you lost it all. Oh,
right, yeah.
That was horrible. And now, because it's in the cloud again, I transferred computers, boom, it was right there. Like, I didn't have to copy the hard drive. I didn't have to like sync it somehow.
Right, we do all that.
I didn't have to reload it. You remember the diskettes?
Or the USB CDs? Drives and well, diskettes, that's before, yeah.
And now it's just like, and I didn't even have to, and I just downloaded it. 10 minutes. It was so an hour to set up that was the whole setup. That wasn't even just the RoboForm component. So it was, So this is the other reason I tell people it's fantastic, because if something happens to one of your devices, you don't lose everything. That's so critical. Since we're talking about that kind of a line, I want to talk about security because a couple of years ago, I was going through my computer and I realized since 2003, I had never cleaned up my password folder. And I thought maybe I should go through all these and see what's good and what's gone. And something I noticed that you guys have added was a little triangle with an exclamation point in it saying, this one might not be good anymore. You might want to change it. Can you talk about the password protection kind of feature you have now?
Yeah. So you know, nowadays, basically, there's two types of passwords. There's ones that are, you know, that are trivially easy for a hacker to guess. And then there's ones that are more or less super hard. And the super hard ones are the ones that you've generated randomly, hopefully with RoboForm or with whatever else you're using. And so the reason why a lot of them are trivially easy is not because, like, you know, computers are necessarily great at guessing per se, but because there have been so many like breaches of like all these different sites that there's like a massive, you know, we essentially have a huge database, right, of like known passwords and like how often people use them. And these are just on the dark web, you know, I mean, they're out there and they can be found. So, you know, what some helpful folks have done is they've taken that data, right? And they've said, all right, let's compile a list of the known bad ones, okay? And let's make a secure way for RoboForm on your computer, right, without telling anybody else, on your computer to check against that list, right? So, because remember, RoboForm encrypts everything. It's on your computer. It's always encrypted with your key, which we don't know. It's your master password. We can't see your data. Just, you know, it's good to repeat that for people. But the software locally will check against this list of known ones and say, oh, that exclamation point. Oh, you know what? This one was found on a list. It's on the naughty list. You should change it because it's easily guessable.
Yeah, I have a bunch of those. I noticed. I need to go in and change them. And yeah, that's probably a good idea. And I don't make them super hard on the regular ones, but the ones that I've changed, they don't show up anymore. But I do use your random password generator.
Absolutely, yeah.
For things like my banking and my Gmail and anything that if I lost it could be the end of my business.
Exactly.
Or even how I function day to day. So those are the super hard encrypted ones that.
And also, by the way, make sure the other thing we also added is to check if you use the same password on multiple sites. So it's important that you do not use the same password across different sites. Why? Because say that, you know, Yahoo is a great example, right? So Yahoo got breached. Anybody who had a Yahoo account, you know, their password and their Yahoo email were like known, right? Even if it's an amazing password, if you use it 5 other places, somebody can say, oh, well, you know, Simon used that Yahoo password. Let me guess his Amazon account. Let me guess his Google account.
Yeah.
Make sure. So we have a checker that checks for duplicates in the security center.
Yeah. So now when I have them, I don't use any of the same ones because I've learned from you guys.
Yeah.
Also, something we talked about, because I mentioned that I taught my partner my master password because only I know it. And I've actually put it with my will because God forbid something should happen and they need to get into my banking. They need my master password. So I actually keep my master password with my will in case of an emergency in a secure location. But you talked about there's actually an emergency access option.
That's right.
Which I didn't know was a feature, which is important in this day of, you know, things happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we talked about sharing. Emergency access, like kind of like a special form of sharing where you can basically appoint someone as an emergency contact, right? And so what happens with that is if someone's an emergency contact, you know, they accept, you know, it's opt-in, right? And then when you're selecting them, you can select a timeout period if you want it. So you can do a few hours, a few days, whatever. And people will usually put like their spouse, their child, their lawyer, or something like that. So how that works is, in the event of an emergency, whatever that might be, the emergency contact then, if they're already approved, right, they will apply for emergency access to your account. And then if there's no timeout period, they will get access to your data right away, but with their own account. So they don't have to know your master password. You don't have to tell anybody your master password. If you want to give a timeout period of say 48 hours, you're in the hospital, you get better, you can say no to people. But yeah, so the timeout period is basically an opportunity because again, they just apply. We don't know what's going on with you, right? For you to say no, I don't want this person. Yeah. But if you don't say no, then they get access.
Yeah, that's a good idea because we've had a crazy couple of years. You don't know what could happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's definitely something I highly recommend. Again, you can make your lawyer your emergency contact. There's no like limit, I don't think, on the amount of people you can do it with. And that way, obviously you trust your lawyer, but he doesn't need to know your master password.
Yeah. So, Aurora wants to know, does Robo suggest passwords? Yeah. I don't know what that feature is called though.
Well, it's the password generator.
Password generator. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it makes ones that nobody would guess in a bazillion years.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's really good. Now, she also wanted to know if we'd show how RoboForm works. Not here, but there are videos. Actually, that's a good segue. If you want to see it in action, because this video streaming that I'm doing isn't conducive to a demo, just go to the RoboForm. Is it on your YouTube or is it on your website?
We got both. So you can find us on YouTube. What you can also do is go to RoboForm.com/tutorials. So that's if you've installed, that'll walk you through the installation, all the basic stuff. So if you're asking me where to like start, I would say go ahead and do that. If you just want to like see it, you can go to our YouTube channel. It's a lot of the same content, quite honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great way.
It's made to be self-guiding, right? Like it's not. We want to make it as simple as possible. Like we offer the tutorials, but hopefully if we've built it right, you should just go to download, go to our site, download it. It'll walk you through the next steps.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because it's not possible for me to show today, but that's a great way. And who doesn't like YouTube? We're okay. So and I did not know this, and I have this for Facebook, for Instagram, and for a client's website that I help manage, the two-way authentication piece. So I have that generator, that code generator on my phone. Boy, it'd be nice to use your service instead.
So there's two 2FA things you can
okay.
RoboForm. So one of them we should also mention. So in addition to having a very secure password, it's also hugely important to use 2FA. So that includes actually for RoboForm. So make sure.
I don't think I have that set up. I think I will be setting that up now.
Make sure you do that. So for new accounts, we set it up automatically with like your email. Because, again, somebody guess your master password, you don't want to give them the keys to the kingdom. But, so it should be set up to where it'll send you an email if somebody logs in on a different computer, right? But you can go in and select email, phone, SMS, and TOTP authenticator. So for access to RoboForm, you need to use a different authenticator. So you can use Google's. Microsoft is a very nice one. Authy, they're all the same thing basically. And what that'll do is, you'll get the QR code, and then it'll generate. In addition, when you go into a new device, you enter your password, but then it'll also say, hey, enter the 6-digit code from your authenticator device.
Yes.
So, I mean, that stops like 95% of all the horrible things that can happen, quite honestly. Because even if somebody can guess your master password, they don't have that authenticator set up on their phone, and they can't, realistically.
Yeah.
So that's the one part of it. The other part of it, which you were mentioning as well, is, do I need to use a third-party one? So for other sites, right, that aren't RoboForm, you can use RoboForm as your authenticator. We don't allow you to use RoboForm to get into RoboForm because it's kind of like, you know what I mean?
It kind of defeats the purpose.
It's you know, if you saw the movie Being John Malkovich, right? Remember the part where Malkovich went in? It's kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But for everything else that's not RoboForm, you can actually use RoboForm to be your authenticator, desktop and mobile. So a lot of sites that, you know, a lot of sites that you have to enter that 6-digit code, even if you're on desktop, a lot of times kind of annoying because either you get a text message or you got to look it up on your phone and you're looking out and you got to type it, right? Yeah. So you have RoboForm to do all this automation, but then you got to type something. Well, with that, RoboForm will auto put it. You'll get that, you have the RoboForm icon and you just click. It's really nice. Like you use Dropbox.
I'm gonna go set that up.
Absolutely, definitely do it. You don't have to like remove anything from your existing phone or anything. If you have it somewhere else, that's fine. Once you add them though, they'll show up with that little timer. It's such a time saver. Like I highly recommend it.
That's fantastic. Like I just love how you like the evolution of the product was just a form filler, straight up simple, to something that can make your life so much easier now, that on so many levels with so many things. And you guys keep evolving to the point, like I didn't even know some of the features. Like there's so many features that I didn't even know them all.
The other one that we added fairly recently, by the way, that's also good to know, is we added a way to restore. We call it master password restore. So part of why we're secure is we don't know your master password, which is counterintuitive, right? But it's basically, what it basically means is, you know, if somebody were to hack us, we can't get access to your data because we don't know your master password. It's like we don't have the key to your house. Okay.
Oh yeah,
you have it. That's why we're secure. Exactly. Only you have that key. The downside of that though is sometimes people lose their key. And what do you do then? And you know, this is like whenever we have people who are like, I really can't get in, please help me get in, right? Because they think it's like Google where you can just reset your password. You can do that because they have your key. Google can get in into your data. We can't do that. You don't want us to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when they forget it, you know, in the past, it was always kind of like, I'm sorry to tell you, you know, it's like the You Have Cancer pamphlet where you get the pamphlet and, you know, you're just looking at the pamphlet and we feel very bad for you, but we can't do anything. Now we actually have a way for you to get your data back. Yeah. So, but to stay secure, again, remember, we don't want your key. We don't have your key. We don't want to get your key. And so the way to do it, it's very simple. If you have a smartphone, install RoboForm, okay, and enable biometric. If you have an Android and iOS, it's like almost any
like
phone now has biometric. Exactly, yeah, or Face ID, whatever.
Or Face ID, yeah.
Yeah, whatever your device has. So install the RoboForm app and enable biometric for inside of RoboForm. It'll make it easier to use the app, so you're not typing in your master password, you're not doing the PIN. It makes it easier. But most importantly, what that does is it grabs a copy of the key on your device that you get to decrypt. So if for whatever reason on your like computer, you know, you get a new computer, whatever, something happens, you can't get in. You can go to your smartphone and there's a restore option where it basically keeps a copy of the old one and it generates a new one that you pick.
Yeah, because then it'll have my fingerprints, so it will know it's me.
Exactly. And it's on your phone. It's not, we don't have your key on our server or anything like that.
Oh my God, that's so good. Now just don't lose your phone.
Don't lose your phone, yeah. But I mean, yeah, don't lose your master password, don't lose your phone. There's other things we can sometimes do, like if you get locked out on one device, but then you're logged in somewhere else. So if you lose your master password, you forget it, whatever, get in touch with us as soon as possible. Don't delete anything. There's often, we can often get you like a backup or something. Typically what happens is people will change their master password, and then the changed one is the one they'll forget.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there's like an old copy basically with the old one that you can get to. So we can help you there too. But yeah, but the master password restore thing is very useful.
Well, that's actually one of the reasons I encourage people to buy the software or subscription rather, because it supports the company and allows you to have the funds to develop new features, like all these fantastic features, and also have the tech support in place if you have problems.
Right. Yeah.
It allows you to go, like, all boats rise with the tide, right? So we support
you. And also, we don't,
us.
We're a privacy product. Your data is encrypted. We don't make money we make money when you buy the software, right? So we don't have any kind of ads. Like a lot of other types of apps, they'll have a free version, they'll have ads in the free version. And, for a lot of products, that's fine. But, for something like this, where it's like people's most private information, one, we don't have the data, and two, it's not a good look. So we want to keep it super simple. You pay us you pay us for the subscription, we make money. You're the customer, you're not the product.
That's important right there, because that people forget that. The other thing I like is it's affordable.
Yeah.
And that from a sweeper's perspective, invest in your hobby, use the tools that help you enter faster, and one win will really pay for the product.
There you go.
So, you just need to win one set of movie passes for the cost of movie tickets now. Would pay for the year of RoboForm, the value, right? And not including all the secure stuff and how it would make your life easier and all the other things that you say. Bonnie asked, I think you just said this, you can change your master password, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But don't forget it.
Don't forget it, and make sure you have it on your phone with biometrics. So if that changeover period is a little bit, your muscle memory isn't perfect, it'll get you out of trouble.
Yes, that's important.
The other thing that you can also do to save you some time is if you're on Mac or if you're on Windows, if you install the desktop version, not just the extension, you can use biometrics instead of the master password. You'll have to type it in like once a month or something. So it's like on your phone, but you can use the fingerprint reader, or if you have like a good camera, you can do Windows Hello.
Oh, I don't think, I'm just looking, I don't think this laptop has a fingerprint reader in it. My last one did, but this one doesn't.
Does your webcam work with Windows Hello?
Oh, yeah. I've shut it off. It had a little slider, so I've closed it.
You may be able to use that. You may, if it works with Windows Hello, you can log in with just that.
With the face. Oh my gosh. No wonder you want to keep it closed when you're not using it.
Yes.
Because you don't want somebody to scan your face.
Well, yeah. I mean, any kind of camera, you want the privacy thing. I mean, if you're not using it, sure, yeah.
Well, if we're using RoboForm for security, we're going to do all the security.
I mean, if you like typing, it's up to you,
Yeah, so this is fantastic. And then the other thing is there's lots of internal organizational things that I use for sweeping, and I encourage other people to use it, which is, set up folders. And you can have safe notes. And the other thing too is when you're filling out the forms, people don't realize this, but I set it up to, if it's got a CAPTCHA that you have to actually type out, I have it stop. It's got a stop feature. So the filling stops. It allows me to type it, and then I hit submit instead of like an auto enter. And the other thing I do with it is I organize it I use the notes feature. So if a sweepstakes says, hey, you can enter 5 times a day with a different UPC code, instead of filling out the UPC area, because I want to enter multiple, I add them all to the notes, and open RoboForm and then copy them one at a time so I can get all the entries. And I don't have to go look them up because they're all in the same form.
Does the UPC change every day, or is it the same?
No, it's like they say you can enter 5 times with a different UPC. So you'll need 5 different UPC codes. And I didn't want to say 5 pass cards.
Oh, I was going to say, you could say 5 pass cards. If you
I could say 5 pass cards. I could label them, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you can also use the notes feature. The thing is so flexible that, you can do that, or you can do this. And it's all secure, whichever way you want. Oh, this is important. Bonnie said, I just got hacked. Do you think I should change my passwords? My password computers at Best Buy now having it fixed. So when it gets
yes, you should change it. If you
change it.
Yes, you should change. The Best Buy getting it fixed timing, I don't know, but definitely change it. Yeah.
Yeah. So while it's at Best Buy, they need to get in to fix it. Okay. But when it gets home, every single thing should be changed. That's another reason why RoboForm is good, because you can go through your list and change them and save them again and not have to worry about what you're doing. And you can use the password generator to generate a new one for every single thing. It might take you an afternoon depending on how many passwords you have. But it's a time well spent to keep yourself protected on everything.
Yep.
Now, we didn't talk about this at the beginning. Hello, I'm the contest queen. I wouldn't have a guest on without a prize. And of course, we have RoboForm licenses to give away. Simon has generously donated 5 one-year subscriptions to either new users or current subscribers. It would just get added on. Hello, so good. All you have to do is leave a comment on the Facebook feed, or go leave a comment after this video is finished on YouTube, because I can't draw from the YouTube chat. Who knew? There's no possibility to do that. There's no software that allows me to do that. So yeah, so if you can do that, we'll be drawing in next week. Everyone has a chance. The rules are above or below, depending on which format you're looking at us. Yeah, I think Facebook's put everything above and YouTube puts everything below. Makes it a little fun. That I can't thank you enough for coming on my 20th anniversary, because RoboForm changed my life. And I'm hoping that as an ambassador, a fan ambassador, I guess they call them influencers now. I don't feel like an influencer, but I spread the word like Johnny Appleseed. I spread the word of the joys of RoboForm where I go. And I try to tell people how amazing it is and why they won't be able to live without it once they try it for themselves. So thank you so much for being a guest. Did we cover everything? Did I forget any amazing feature of your software package that we should talk about?
No, I think we got to all the new ones and all the classics. I appreciate you having me on, and definitely appreciate all the love you spread for our software. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I like I said, I remember when I was buying my last computer and I was contemplating, do I go Mac? Because you guys took a while to get on the Mac train. It wasn't as good back in, I think it was like 15 years ago.
It's good now. It's good now. Yeah.
It's good now, but 15 years ago, when I was getting a new computer, and I actually called RoboForm and I said, should I get a PC or a Mac? And you guys go, get a PC. So I stuck with a PC because I'm like,
we're neutral now.
Yeah, you're neutral now.
Yeah.
Times have changed. I mean, look at the whole landscape. Everything has changed now. I mean, I bought an iPad. It works great on my iPad.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which in the past it like a long time ago it didn't, and so that's why, again, there were another reason to subscribe, so they can evolve and improve the software across all platforms.
And we got to keep up with the browsers. It's Apple changes one thing, Android changes another thing, Chrome changes a thing. That's
just for fun.
if we're not, we can't take a day off, right? Like it's not like we can build something and it's good for 5 years. They could break it tomorrow and we have to go in and fix it.
Yeah, actually, I updated, I got a notification and I updated RoboForm today.
There you go. There you go.
And that's another thing. You don't have to worry about wondering, do I need to update this? You get notified that a new version is out and then you can go and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in the middle of work, like I was in the middle of doing work, the notification came up, I put it to sleep, finished what I was doing, then I went and installed it and rebooted. So you don't, it doesn't kick you out of anything that you're doing if you need to update.
Yep.
So it's, so you don't even have to think about it. It reminds you, which is another.
Yeah, definitely always update. Always get the latest version. Definitely.
Oh, yeah. Don't leave it. I mean, finish what you're doing because you have to reboot, but.
Well, you don't have to anymore. On Windows, at least.
Really?
Yeah, we updated. It used to be you had to like close your browser. But now, as of a few months ago, we don't anymore.
Oh, I'm so used to it. I just did it.
I mean, look,
so old school.
There's still some magic that happens on Windows where like rebooting apparently makes everything better. So, definitely do it if you want to, but you don't have to for us.
That's funny. You see, you get into these old habits and they don't change even when the software improves. And so anyway, thank you very much. Everybody go watch the YouTube videos to check it out. Because if you're not familiar with the software package or you're didn't know about some of the features and want to see them in action, head over there and check out their tutorials. And then, go play around with it. The nice thing about the software is you can play around with it and check it out in different ways. And then make sure you're in to win. And I won't wait 20 years to have you back on as a guest. Actually, you know what? Your 25th anniversary is in a couple of years.
That's true. I'll
have to have you back for the big 2-5.
All right. Well, we'll put it on the calendar.
We'll put it on the calendar. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, Carolyn. Thank you.
Bye.